Fish, Little
Joe
Fish.
Rogan doesn't edit anything.
Good. We're live.
Are we live?
We're live.
Okay.
We're live, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Welcome to episode 1 of the Big Fish, Little Fish podcast. I got Miguel Rodas with me here in the house. How we doing?
We're doing good.
All right. Well, why don't we start with some introductions, because that's a good place to start, I feel like. So tell us who you are, Miguel.
My name's Miguel. I'm a real estate agent, currently working with KW United. That's the gist of it for now. Obviously, new podcaster and, somebody who's just been working in the real estate industry for a couple of years now. Teo, how about you give us a little intro on what you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, I am Teo Dobres, weird name, but also a real estate agent with Keller Williams. I think that this podcast has been an idea you and I have talked about for a while, so why don't we jump right into why we're even doing a podcast in the first place? What do you think?
Yeah, we're doing it because we're bored. We're doing it because we got nothing else to do and no one's going to listen to this. But, the other reason is because we're interested in all types of different
Making
subjects.
my first chess move, by the way. We didn't even talk about that. We'll intro the chess. But go ahead.
We'll
keep
talk
going.
about the chess. We're interested in what is going on in the community. So we actually live in Northern Virginia, and we come across a lot of different people in the real estate industry, different business industries, people who run all types of organizations, or just very interesting characters along the way. Obviously, we work in the real estate industry, but we didn't really want this to be necessarily a real estate podcast, but just a podcast where we can get perspective from different individuals who do awesome things, or anybody we're just interested in talking to, right? They can be a big fish or a little fish. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I think it's a weird name for a podcast, but there's reason behind it. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I agree. I think when we were talking about it, we were like, well, everyone does a podcast. But if we were going to do a podcast, why are we doing it? So we talked about the dynamic of having different people that are in different fields and being able to understand their story, learn from them, kind of figure stuff out about how they got to where they are. And hopefully in other people in Northern Virginia, it not only helps them kind of connect, but they can hear stories, get some inspiration. And I think the other reason we talked about is ranting. So we both go on plenty of different rants ourselves. And I think that that'll probably start to trickle its way into this podcast the more we do and the more topics we go into. So I think it'll be interesting to go into both of those dynamics and hear from other people, but then get a chance to do more of a free form conversation. We both do videos for real estate, and some of them are educational, some of them are kind of corny, trying to do something funny, but actually having a chance to just talk in a free flow format and like bring up important topics that are in real estate or business or life or any of that, this will be the opportunity to do that.
We're just chopping it.
We're just chopping it.
We're just chopping it up. And for those of you who can't tell, this is actually my first podcast. So
same here.
If anybody's actually watching this, which I don't think
all
they are.
4 of you.
If that. I don't even know if I'll watch this. But this is the first one, so bear with us on this one. Also, side note, and Teo and I didn't talk about this. This is completely unscripted. I'm scaring him right now with what I'm about to say.
Okay.
But it matters who wins this chess game. This chess game, this is the first.
Yeah, so talk about the chess game real quick. What's the idea behind this?
Whoever loses dies. No, just joking. We grew up playing chess. We both learned at a really young age. I think the first time I got introduced to chess was like first grade, where I learned how the pieces move. And then I think second grade, I don't know, I can't remember if Teo started at the same time as me, but I started playing in chess club. And I know Teo started at an early age, but forever we have been playing chess, and I have always had a slight edge, probably 51%.
See, this is the point of it. Let's actually get real. So we've probably played 1,000 chess games against each other, and I will say that I am the better chess player, and he'll say he's the better chess player. So we're putting it documented. In addition to talking to people, you're seeing how we play, and you'll see who ends up winning most of the games. So we have a few creative ideas on how we'll do the matches in the podcast and incorporate them. When we have guests on, obviously, we're not going to play, but just to show that we can multitask as well as who's the real better chess player, you'll get a chance to see that. All right, so let's talk about podcasts. We were saying that we were going to do one, and I think that it's important. I'm the numbers guy. I think I'm a little bit more organized and prepared in terms of certain things here, and you're here to just chop it up and kind of give the free-flowing content. So I wanted to go through some stats on podcasts because it's like, why the hell are we doing this, and what are we up against? So I'm going to ask you some questions. This is unscripted, and you're going to tell me what you think the numbers are behind podcasts just to see how interesting this is. So how many podcasts do you think exist in the world as of right now?
7 billion people on Earth. So let me think how many people, how many of those people would want to do podcasts?
This is rapid fire. So
yeah, okay. Rapid fire, 300 million. Divide that.
This is not rapid at all.
Okay.
Give me a number.
Let me go for 500K podcasts.
All right. You say there's 500,000 podcasts. As of May of 2023, there are 4,089,000 podcasts. Ooh. So we got some competition. Sub kind of question. How many podcasts do you think are hosted of those 4 million on Apple?
Apple.
50%. First piece taken in the entire chess series, Teo takes pawn. 2.5 million of them. All right, keeping it going. How many podcast episodes are there? So we got 4 million podcasts. How many episodes have been created?
It's got at least twice that, right? I would say.
Everyone made 2 podcasts.
Everybody made 2 podcasts. Well, Joe Rogan's probably got like 2,000 himself, so I'm going to go with 40 million.
I feel like statistically that's closer than your first answer, but it's 79 million podcast episodes. So once again, we got some competition. Fun fact, in 2018, there was only 18.5 million episodes. So in a matter of 5 years, there's been roughly 65,000 podcast episodes put out there. All right. But here's a sub kind of stat on it. How many active podcasts? So podcasts get created. People want to do what we're doing all the time. They go out there and they get episode 1 out. So now they're officially a podcast. But how many do you think are active, which means they're constantly putting out content?
2 million.
So we said there was 4 million podcasts out there roughly. Only 474,000 actually are constantly putting out content. So like 10%, if anything, are actually making content. So the goal of this podcast is we're going to try to do 2 a month, and we're going to be consistent with it. So that's going to be our metric. Do we fall into the first category where we're just one of many, or is there a lot? All right, just a few more stats. Yeah, we're one of many, but we'll see where we go. How many people in America listen to a podcast in 2023? And it's a percentage. What percentage of Americans would you say listen to podcasts?
50%.
At least one.
50%.
That's pretty close. It was 64%. So
wow.
A lot of people in America like podcasts. I have my own favorite ones. I know everyone has their own ones. But what do you think, next question, what do you think the number one activity people are doing when they're listening to podcasts? There's a top 3. Give me what you think.
Driving.
Work commute is number 2. So I'll give you a point for that. What do you think the other 2 are?
Working out.
That's number 3. Okay. So you got 2 and 3. What's the number 1?
Eating.
No. Last guess? Last guess.
One more guess. What am I doing when I'm listening to podcasts? Okay.
The audience is just loving to hear
walking the dog.
Not everyone has dogs. Doing chores. So that's almost kind of it. Doing chores.
I almost said wash the dishes.
Okay. All right. Let's go rapid fire through these last kind of stats.
Super fast.
How many listeners do podcasts get on average? So someone puts out an episode. If you're in the top 1% of podcast episodes, how many listeners are you getting?
If you're in the top 1%?
Yep, top 1%.
Probably like 200K.
You'd be surprised. If you get 5,000 listeners, 5,097 specifically.
No.
You're in the top 1%.
Bro, where are you getting these facts?
Well, funny story. We actually have Davi who does our text/audio, and he's going to be our fact checker. But I did this work up front. It's on paper. I got a source. Don't worry about it. It's true. What do you think the top 50% get? So you're in the top 50. You're in the top half of podcasters out there. How many subscribers or listeners do you need to be in the top half? 5,097 gets you in the top 1%.
1,000.
32. So if we can get to 32 people who give a shit about what we have to say,
that's it.
We're gonna be in the top half already.
Oh, we got this.
So we're
for
going.
Sure. You guys are here, day one. Clip this.
All right, let's wrap up the stats because this isn't a stats podcast. But what do you think the number one podcast genre is?
Political.
I have top 10. So
political.
You said political. They don't have that as its own individual category. I guess you could say that as news, which is number 2.
Okay, yeah.
Or society and culture, which is 3. So 2 and 3 have been knocked out. What do you think number 1 is? It's surprising. Crime is number 4.
Wow.
Okay. You got 3 more guesses to get the number 1.
Relationships.
No, not even on the list.
Wow. Okay.
Strike 1. Family Feud style.
Self-improvement.
You could go with that being education, I guess. I mean, or business. Those are 2 of the others. So no business, no education. I already eliminated those for you.
Okay.
Last guess.
Fitness.
No. It is actually comedy. Who would have thought? People log on just to listen to some funny stuff and laugh. So those are some podcast stats. We're up against some crazy competition. Let's get to those 34 viewers or whatever it was. But let's talk about our podcast.
We've got to be funnier.
Yeah, we got to be funnier. Make me laugh more. We have the podcast name Big Fish, Little Fish. Why don't you give a little bit of background as to where the backstory is for that and what we're kind of envisioning that to mean for us? But
yeah.
Where does it come from?
Okay, this comes from... So Teo and I used to live together in D.C. As roommates. And... we wanted to start our own business. So to kind of start that off, we started reading a lot of books. Mm-hmm. And one of the books we read was called Small Giants. And the book basically just outlined a bunch of companies that had don't quote me on this, but I want to say less than 500 employees or 100 employees or something like that. And essentially, they were just trying to outline that to be a business that makes a lot of money, you don't need to have a whole lot of people in your business.
Yeah, you don't have to be a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah, you don't have to be Fortune 500 necessarily. And so, we read the book. I know it stuck with me. Then I had to convince Teo to read it because he thought the cover was stupid. There was a little goldfish in the front.
Jumping into a fishbowl of a
something like
crowd.
that.
I don't know.
Yeah. And Teo was like, I don't want to read this book. And eventually got him to read it. He could never remember the name of the book.
Yeah, he would check in and be like, hey, how's the book going? I was like, what book? And I would be like, stupid Big Fish, Little Fish book. So we started calling it the Big Fish, Little Fish book, even though it's Small Giants and there was the fish on the covers. But that was the backstory of the book. Good book. A little different than I believe in terms of ideology, but it's a good book.
I'll also say I'm not 100% sure it's called Small Giants. I feel
it's called Big Fish, Little Fish. They're gonna redo it.
Little Fish. Whenever I do find it, and maybe one day we get the author of the book to come on.
That would be full circle moment.
Hey man, if you're already watching, you're invited to come on this podcast.
First formal invitation. You are invited.
Man. You know what? First time we're gonna ask our tech guy to look something up. Find out what the name of the dude is.
Yeah.
If the
we think it's called Small Giant. Show us the picture if
it's a
you
little
can find
goldfish in the front.
First official stat check. Fact check.
It'd be the right name, but the cover is something completely different.
No, I have the book at my house still. I'm going to give it back to you.
But you know books have different covers. Harry Potter has 100 million different things. Sometimes it's like the Sorcerer's Stone. Sometimes it's just Harry with
You know what? I used to get pissed when I'd see a different cover than the version I had because I was like, no, I have the right cover.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Got it.
All right. Davi with the first fact check. Small Giants?
Yeah, it's called Small Giants.
Companies
that choose to be great instead of big. And the author
great instead of big.
Bo Burlingham. So
Bo!
My
boy Bo.
Bo, come on the podcast.
Get on this app.
Yeah, man. I don't know if that's the only book you've written, but that's the only one I've read. And it's great. And I love it.
Whose move is it, by the way? I think it's my move.
It might be your move.
I'm getting distracted out here.
Fact check. there's also 2 different covers I see.
Is there one with a goldfish jumping into a bowl by itself?
Yes, and
Yeah.
there's another cover that. Oh, never mind. You're right. There's only one cover.
Davi,
Okay.
edit later the picture of the book.
Put it on there.
While we talk.
All right. So Big Fish, Little
Yeah.
Fish. That was the book that got us into it. But what
Right.
are we thinking with the name? Why did we want to go with that name?
Oh yeah, totally just went
Side
over my
tangent.
head. But so we read the book. We like it. We ourselves, I would say, right now we're little fish. Right? We are in the real estate. Well, Tail might think he's a big fish. Let me not speak for him.
Yeah, talk
But-
for yourself, man.
Hey, and the point is, just because you're a big fish doesn't mean you're a better fish. Some small fish get the job done too. So my point is, we got the book, we read the book, we liked the book. And
We're past the book.
We're
We're
past
talking
the
about
book.
what we want this
No,
podcast to be.
I know, damn it. Let me talk. It is, we're in real estate industry professionals. And like we said, we'll have anybody on the pod, but essentially the big fish, the little fish, it doesn't matter whether you're big fish or little fish. You can always come on the pod and we'll interview you and get your perspective on how to, do what you do.
Yeah, and I think that's the point, is the fact that there's different approaches on how you can go towards business or whatever you're working on, and there isn't one right method. And then we're going to hopefully get some different perspectives on here where they can actually talk about things like how did you get there and how do you consider yourself, and do you find that that's the sweet spot, or if you're a little fish, do you want to be a big fish type thing? So we're going to talk to different people. That'll be kind of half of our episodes. So when we talk about like the structure of how this podcast is going to go, half of it's going to be me and you chopping it up, talking about a specific topic and kind of going through that and just being able to free flow talk about it. The other half, I will say, I think is going to be us trying to get quality people on who've done some really cool stuff, and getting a chance to hear from them and what they think about future opportunities, and hopefully the viewers find value out of that. So all that being said, where do you think that the future of the podcast is going,
Where?
or what do you want out of it?
Money and fame. It's like, no. I mean, I don't know. I just want to have a good time, enjoy the process, enjoy getting the opportunity to talk to people who are experts or just really good at what they do and really impact the community, whether it's in a business sense, a creative sense, a sense of community, just, whatever they do. I'd be down to even, interview somebody like the Pope, right? If the Pope ever wanted to come on, we'd have him. It doesn't just have to
You
be,
always are the dreamer.
yeah, Hey, you never know, right? We could always come back and we laugh at this because nobody
Okay,
watches
episode 1, if we ever get the Pope on our podcast, I will give you a car. How about that?
A car?
If we get to the point where we get the Pope on the podcast, you can have any car you want.
Oh, my God.
And it's documented. You have my word. I'll sign a contract
I'm
tomorrow.
shouting at the Pope every episode.
Shout
So we
out-
get
shout
that
out to
guy
the
on
Pope.
The podcast.
Does he even speak English? We're going to have a translator.
No, I speak Spanish.
He's Italian.
Oh, no, you're right. He is Italian.
Yeah.
Well, he's not always Italian. I'm not Catholic, so I'm not 100% sure what he speaks.
We're gonna get into conspiracy theories on this. We're gonna get into religion,
Is
politics.
that supposed to be one of those podcasts?
Is that where we're going, or what?
But if the Pope does come on,
You're the
I
one who
have,
brought the Pope
I have
in
a lot
down
of
here.
questions for the Pope.
All
But
right.
yeah, let's just move on to the next
Okay.
subject.
Well, I think that was we just wanted to intro it. We didn't want to make it too long. We have some plans for our first guest that we're reaching out to. We have some topics that we want to cover in the upcoming series. So that's what we wanted to cover here. The only thing left we had to do was every episode, no matter when we have a guest on, we're going to ask them the same 5 questions. And you need to start moving rapid fire because I already see checkmate in a few and we're on to the last little bit. So I'm going to give you the 5 questions and then you can give me the 5 questions, and then we'll ask the same people or different people those same 5 questions every time. So question number 1, do you consider yourself a big fish in a little pond or a little fish in a big pond?
I would say right now, Saturday,
Check.
May 13th.
Check.
I'm not in check, you idiot.
Look
at him. He is an idiot. Pay attention to this. He didn't check nothing. But yeah, no, I think
all right,
right
this
now,
is why I wanted this on camera. What is my queen doing? Stupid.
Hey, Javi, edit that out.
We ain't editing shit.
Edit
Check.
that out.
And you losing a rook. How you feel?
Okay. Also,
Are you a big fish in a little pond or a little fish in a
no. For those of you who don't know chess, like, there's two ways to play chess. There's fast chess, and then there's chess at your own pace. I'm not a fast
Excuses
chess
already.
player.
Excuses already. Episode 1. Game 1. We already got an excuse.
I'm taking
Love
an
to
L,
see it.
but
Love to see it.
But the game's not over, and that's the other thing. You never quit, because I'm a little fish. And little fish out here, they go hard. They never quit. They never quit. You know, big fish, they quit. They quit fast, bro. They quit fast. No,
Okay.
that's not true. That's not true. I made that up.
I think you're just bullshitting right now, but okay. All right. So what was your answer to that question?
I say right now, May 13th, 2023, I'm a little fish.
Okay.
You know,
All
little
right.
fish right now.
Follow-up question. Do you want to be a big fish, or you're the one who introduced small giants? Do you like
Yeah.
staying at the little fish
I mean, some little fish are cool. So as of right now, I don't really have an interest in being a big fish.
Wow.
You know?
Well, this is shocking because we're going into business together, and I thought we were going in to be big fishes. But hey, that's why we're on this, to get candid
We're going to
answers.
be fish that win, okay? You don't always need, like, even in basketball, right? There are point guards and there are centers, right? Yeah. So, like, maybe the big fish needs a little fish to help out. You want to be a big fish? Be a big fish. But the point is to win.
I don't know what to say to you right now, to be honest, man. Check. And then next question. What is your biggest regret in life or in business?
Whoa.
Aside from playing the way you've played this chess game.
Biggest regret in life and in business.
Or
in business. Let me just go with life.
Is that the easier one?
I think that's the easier one.
Interesting.
The biggest regret I have in life is taking way too long to finish college. Shaved off 2 years of my professional adult life.
Okay.
So I wish I had just done that a lot quicker. That's what I can think of right now, but I'm sure I've done something way worse.
Well, that's the point of this section, is hopefully the guests we have are kind of just what comes to your mind. I mean, it may, if you think about it, be a different answer, but that's what is your knee-jerk reaction. So clearly you regret it, but I think you've turned that into a win.
Yeah.
You've played catch up, and now look at you.
Yeah.
You're thriving.
Look at this. I'm starting a podcast.
You're starting a podcast. Like, you've made it. All right. What is your biggest goal in the next year? And you're in check still.
My biggest goal is to be able to say, is to be able to have a gross income of about like 200K. That's my goal.
Okay. So in the next year, you want to make 200K of
Yeah.
gross income.
Yeah.
And
Before
then
taxes.
Before taxes.
That's my goal.
Okay. There's it's not really applicable because I actually think you can do more than that personally. But there is a quote that I love, and it says, people often overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 5 years. So what do you want to do in 5 years? This is off the cuff, not
5
part of the
years.
script. But if 200K is a 1 year gross
5
income
years,
goal.
I want to be grossing, oh man, this is going live, huh? Okay. This is
We're putting it on the record.
We're putting it on the record. Oh man. This is either being really cool or super disappointing in 5 years. Yeah, I want to be making like 5 million. in
5 million
years.
a year in 5 years?
Yeah, 5 million a year. Hopefully I'm underestimating.
I would hope so. I mean, you want to put how old you are on the podcast?
I mean, 30.
30?
Yeah.
So at 35, you want to be making 5 million
5
a year?
million a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 29.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's
Just
your
throwing-
birthday? You want to put that on the podcast?
It's in the future.
Is the future?
Yeah. I can't
Very
give away
near
PII,
future or very
but,
far
I mean,
future?
relatively speaking.
For
But I just
real?
wanted to. You're 30. I'm 29.
Yeah,
here
we're
and there.
basically the same thing.
Okay.
Less
All right.
than a year
Next
apart.
question. Next question. What's your favorite podcast
Birthday's
or TV
tomorrow.
show? It's not tomorrow. What'd you get me for my birthday? All right, favorite podcast or TV show? Preferably podcast, but if they don't have it, we put TV show so they have a backup.
I'll put TV show. I'll put TV show.
Whoa. Okay.
I'll put TV show.
Are you not keeping it real here?
Am I keeping it real? Yeah, I really don't want to say my favorite podcast.
I'm gonna say mine, but I don't care. All right,
That's cool. Good. I'm glad you will. It'll probably be a lie. My favorite TV show is genuinely.
You're in check still. Keep going.
I would say right now, I think my favorite TV show of all time is The Sopranos. Yeah.
It's a solid one. Tony. Okay, and then last question, and probably the most important question that we are going to ask every guest, and we're going to hopefully not have it turn into a whole new podcast episode, but who is better, Jordan or LeBron? We're both basketball heads.
So. Right now, for the sake of controversy.
All-time best player.
Last night, LeBron at 38, I think he's 38 or 39, just beat the Warriors in the playoff second round. And I would say as of right now, Michael Jordan.
Check. Michael Jordan.
As of right now. You can still turn this around, LeBron. And if you want to come on the podcast, you're more than welcome. We would love to have you.
Okay.
I'm a big fan. Just because MJ is better than you right now doesn't mean I don't admire you and think you're a great person.
So I'm just taking a note real quick. So the guest invites we have is the Big Fish, Little Fish book author.
Yeah. Bo. Shout out Bo.
My boy Bo. The Pope. And lastly, LeBron James. Okay. I just want to, because we got to start outreach and stuff. So I want to make sure we're tracking. So Davi, if you can just make a few phone calls and get one of those three for the next episode, super appreciated. All right.
LeBron's not gonna come on this podcast.
Why? Because you said Jordan. Oh, that's why he's not coming on. He was like, oh yeah, I'd love to be on Big Fish, Little Fish. But who did they say is the GOAT? Jordan? Never mind. Cancel it.
Let me change my answer.
All right, I'll go through. You need to focus on the fact that you are in check again, and I'll go through my questions. Look at the rook. Look at the rook. All right. So, are you a big fish in a little pond or a little fish in a big pond? I would agree with Miguel with his statement that I am a little fish in a big pond for right now, but I think probably where we differ in opinion is that I do definitely have aspirations to be a big fish in a big pond. I don't want to be a big fish in a little pond, and I don't want to be a little fish in any pond. I want to be a big fish in a big pond. So next question, my biggest regret in life or in business. It's funny. I'm not even saying this just to say it. I literally didn't think of a response for that one when I wrote it. You trying to bait me with that pawn, huh? Took another piece. This is not going well for you chess-wise. I guess my biggest regret...
Check.
My biggest regret would be...
I'm going to lose this game.
Yeah, you are. Yes, you are, my friend. That... I don't know why this is coming to the top of my mind, but I didn't do a study abroad in college. I actually did like a spring break, and though it was a lot of fun, I think studying abroad would have been a cool opportunity. My biggest goal in the next year actually is going to be tied to our business and trying to get the team rolling. So it's not going to be as much of an individual goal as I want our team to hit over 20 million in sales. I think that would be a cool thing for us to be able to say we did. And I think it's also very achievable. And then along the same lines, I in a 5-year span, I want us to own 25 properties. That would be cool. So we're kind of starting slow and getting some momentum with our investing, and we'll talk about how we've done investing so far together in the past, but I think that's the other goal. My favorite podcast, I'm actually going to say it is, did you move that? That's me. Is going to be the Joe Rogan podcast. I think he does a really good job with it, not because he's the biggest one. I think he does an incredible job of having people come on the platform and really getting the most info out of them as possible. So regardless of your opinions on him or whatever, I think that he's setting the bar. So you want the Pope and LeBron. I want us to reach a quality perspective of what Joe Rogan's doing. And then lastly, Jordan or LeBron, I don't think it's even close. I think Jordan's the GOAT and definitely significantly better mindset mentality-wise than LeBron. LeBron, I'm sure if he gets another ring, it's going to get closer. And if he gets 2, then we can have a real conversation. I just don't see it happening. So we'll see.
Those 2 things going off of everything he's just said. These things go without saying. I know. We'll get to it.
See how he's delaying. The episode's over, and he's talking
Jordan,
but not moving.
If you want to come on the podcast, you're more than welcome to come on. And the same to you, Joe. Joe the GOAT.
And Joe. Okay, so we have, just in summary, the author of Big Fish, Little Fish, the Pope, LeBron, Jordan, and Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. You guys, hey, I'm even down to have them all here at the same
like a
time.
Round table. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Questions to everybody.
Yeah. All right. Well, Davi, once again, let's get you working on that. I don't know. Do you want to try to talk a few more minutes and lose this game, or what are we doing here, brother?
I think we should just end the podcast.
Y'all see it here. Miguel's done. Do you want to forfeit on screen, or
we'll let you know? I
don't want to make people watch this chess game. They're here for the podcast.
Just end the pod, bro.
Just end the pod. All right,
we'll finish this off screen, and we'll let you guys know next pod who won.
All right, episode 1. We're starting the next episode with who won, by the way. Episode 1, the Big Fish, Little Fish podcast.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. Peace, brother.